going on? It's Zach from Stable Minded here. We're sitting down for another Stable Spotlight with Derek from Persona. Derek, first of all, thank you for sponsoring Stable House with us at ETH Denver.
Thanks for having us.
Man, you've just been such a pleasure. We met back in San Francisco too, and I'm sure we'll be working together a lot more. I mean, you've just been, like I said, great to be around.
Yeah.
You're just
Thanks
awesome dude. Can't say that enough. So, man, like I said, we've been doing Stable Spotlights. Persona, tell us, for the people that don't know, tell them what you're building.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us here. We'd love to say, yeah, Persona, we are a digital identity verification, business verification platform that helps crypto, but also every industry really, TradFi, trust and safety use cases, age verification. But I'm here really supporting the crypto environment, crypto industry, and trying to build for them.
You know, and I'll say, KYC is a sensitive topic in crypto. How do you approach that, being that guy? And I'll say, for example, I was signing up for a bunch of stablecoin funded cards. Their experience for getting on with them was all very different. And I can say this totally non-biased, but Persona was my favorite experience. And I think you guys also have a feature too, correct me if I'm wrong, where you can kind of bring your KYC as long as people agree to it. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head. We're really working towards that reusable identity concept, because the truth is, no one loves going through an identity flow, KYC, myself included.
Yeah.
Tell me. And that's honestly why I got into this identity space 7 years ago. And I was of the opinion that you should be able to walk into a store and be able to pay for something, buy booze if you want, without necessarily revealing very much. And I believe that eventually the reusable identity will make that easy. We're really trying to bridge physical space to digital space. And right now, the current tactics are, we use either databases, authoritative databases, IDs, so passports, driver's license, and selfies. That's what TradFi is familiar with.
Right.
And that's what a lot of laws and compliance teams are used to. So we're satisfying those today, but really the evolution is going to come, I think, in like 5 years, 10 years time, as a reusable digital identity is created, where now we do away with all these ID scans. And it's really just either a digital identity, or we call it a reusable persona, that you can then just share and permission out and have some level of ownership on who controls it and who has access to it. Right now, there are times where you might sign up for a platform and then they share that on with someone. We don't really want that to happen in the long term. We want you to know exactly who it's being shared with.
Man, that's major. And I think especially, like, there's a common theme right now, especially on the crypto side of things, on interoperability and the fragmentation of chains and stablecoins. I don't hear anybody talking about the fragmentation of especially your personal data and your KYC. So I think it's important that you guys are at least building that in mind. Talk to me about, like, how'd you even land as the crypto guy at Persona? Like, I have to imagine, like, you were probably, I know I was at a few companies for a while. I was like, okay, he's into crypto. What's your experience been like?
I get a couple eyeballs, truthfully, still, but this started more as a personal interest. So 2017, first dabbled into crypto, just getting familiar with either a coin-based exchange. Then eventually you get your crypto wallet, your MetaMask, and you start to play around. And over time you say, you know, there's actually some value here as you learn more about the industry and, like, what's the purpose of Bitcoin or Ethereum or smart contracts and now stable coins. And over time, I've always stayed in identity and had the personal interest of crypto. And I've found that when I came to Persona, that we could do a lot more, truthfully. And so over the past year, we've really been building out, like, how do we service our existing clientele? I mean, we got some awesome customers. Bridge, Kraken, MuralPay. I believe that was a sponsor of one of your
MuralPay, shout out MuralPay.
Yeah,
thank you.
Dakota
Season 2 sponsor, Stable
on
Minded. Yep, they've been on the show as well.
So it's awesome to see these types of companies choose us before we've really catered to them super well. And now we're starting to a point where I kind of raised my hand and said, KYC for crypto, KYB for crypto. I'm kind of taking that risk to say, we're the necessary evil, sure, but we're going to try and make it as easy and approachable as possible. So you crypto builders can just do your actual building and allow the compliance bit to just be solved by us.
Oh man, that's so clean. I love that so much. What have been some friction points though? Like, so when people come to you and they're like, hey dude, you guys aren't doing this right. Like, what's some of that feedback been like?
Yeah. KYC is not simple, honestly. Every industry has its own nuances, its own types of fraud. And so people do come to us hoping that they just get an out-of-the-box solution. We have that, but the truth is there's a lot of dials that you have to turn to try and make sure that this is right for your use case. There's very high fraud instances and there's sometimes low fraud instances, and you could dial in that friction. So that's one challenge, is us having to almost like educate the industry sometimes on what do you need? How strict do you need to be on those checks? That's one bit. But the second thing is, specifically in crypto, it seems like every layer is regulated, and every layer is the stack. Call it the front end, where a stablecoin provider, call it ShieldPay, for example, they may use providers in the back end like Hi-Fi or Bridge, who also need the KYC documents. For the end user, there are times where you have to perform KYC or KYB twice. And you just would have thought, you're like, why do I need to do this?
It makes no sense. I mean, it does not mirror any flow that you're traditionally accustomed to when you go to open up a SoFi bank account.
Correct. If you had to go through a SoFi onboarding flow and then tomorrow or the moment after do it again, you'd say, what's going on here? So this is really what we're trying to bridge the gap of, is the front end, verify yourself, and we've unlocked something called like a KYC token that you can then share with the back end infrastructure layer, call it a Bridge, a Hi-Fi, and be able to share that KYC token.
And so you say KYC token, and this is a term that thrown around, like especially if you talk to some traditional payments guys. Token is not a new term. So is this token on chain? Do you see it? Is it going to be on chain?
Yep.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. KYC token, it's not a tradable asset. Don't go looking for it. But
watch out, there might be a new meme coin.
Right. But what it is, so a KYC token, it's really just the ability to share already a verified identity with other providers or that you relying parties. It's called like a reliance model.
Yeah.
There's that, but there's also the reusable persona element where we're trying to allow you to create a passkey with your verified identity. And when you encounter a KYC flow again, that's hosted by Persona, share that already verified identity, or at least unlock your already uploaded documents. Long term, it would be amazing if we could start to make some level of like zero knowledge proofs or verifiable credentials where you don't even need to reveal my name's Derek Woods and still onboard to a platform.
Yeah. I'm just an American citizen that's 28 years old.
Correct. Yeah. So that
not
is
a criminal.
that is the future where we want to eventually be there. The challenge here is not only technologically, this isn't that hard. What's hard is actually the legal landscape and being sure that it's considered an acceptable form of ID. Mm-hmm. And so I imagine it'll require a couple different players, probably large industry players, to come together and do some level of a sandbox environment to say, hey, this is actually workable. So when the day comes, if a regulator knocks on someone's door and says, we need to know who that individual was, maybe it has like a chain that it can go back to and say, all right, we do need to reveal that identity. We just didn't need everyone's identity.
Oh, man. It makes a lot of sense. And so what about, I want to go a little bit on the personal side, mm-hmm. Like you get to play in crypto a lot. I'm sure you work with a ton of stablecoin companies. You mentioned a few earlier. What gets you excited about the space?
Yeah. I mean, stablecoins, it feels like the first thing that I explain to my family and friends where they're like, I get it.
Yeah.
This is the perfect gateway for TradFi and the average mainstream to understand the benefit of using a blockchain. Faster transactions, cheaper speeds. I moved money from my Bank of America account to someone else's account within the US and it charged me $30. It made me...
On this note, I paid my car loan the other day and I had to pay by debit card. $10 fee. Why?
Ridiculous. So what gets me most excited is finally it feels like we have a use case that average people are starting to say, I can see the benefit here. Bitcoin and Ethereum, it might be the next step for them to understand. Yeah. But really, stablecoins is the understanding of making transactions cheaper and faster. And I really liked how MuralPay put it, how they don't actually talk about blockchain or anything on their website.
They decryptified really hard, and it's paid off.
And I completely understand, because they're leaning on the benefits of the technology. People don't care for the word stablecoin, at least mainstream doesn't. They just want to know that our technology is getting better.
And so if somebody was like, totally green and said, and you want to point him to some place to start, where would you say, like, hey, this is the first app, go experience how easy it is to use stablecoins and how great KYC can be? Okay, give me a little plug here.
Yeah. So some of the best places to try it would be for businesses or merchants looking to onboard to stablecoins. ShieldPay is awesome. They're a great customer of ours, as well as MuralPay, Dakota, if you're a business who needs to do business banking, love them. And then even CoinFlow. So some of these places are great experiences. to try a persona.
What about a consumer, though? Do you have any consumer ones that you'd like to shout out? Especially anything card related? Do you have anything top of mind?
I would say Robinhood and stuff like that, but that's not crypto necessarily.
I mean, please. No. Yeah. I mean, still, Robinhood has such a foundation right now with stablecoins. Yeah. If you're not following what they're doing with USDG, go check it out. They're using stablecoins to settle funds 24/7, 365.
There you go.
And so last thing I want to leave with, any hot, give me something hot, give me something spicy, anything.
Hot and spicy take. I actually believe that regulation will help the industry. Maybe that's not hot and spicy, but the truth is, with regulation comes clarity and allows us to move faster. And one bit is the anti-money laundering type checks. I think if we add clarity there, we will be able to perform it much more efficiently and allow for some shareable KYC token that'll allow us all to just operate on the better technology, less focused on the onboarding experience.
I mean, I'm even thinking from the perspective of, okay, you go and you open up a Robinhood account.
Yeah.
Now you want to get more into crypto. You already have, you're halfway there. There's one less thing you have to do. So I love that. Yeah. Derek, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for supporting everything we're doing at Stable Minded.
Appreciate it.
Till next time, see ya.